Welcome to Supplier Spot Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Join us as we chat with suppliers, park owners, and staff, uncovering insights, strategies, and stories that will elevate your outdoor experience. Get ready for inspiration and innovation in every episode.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Bobby Sorden here with Supplier Spotlight Podcast. And I got a really awesome person here to talk with now. I mean, his name says it all. It's got the best name I've ever come across. So I got to say that to you. So here's Bobby Cornwell, President, Executive Director of the Florida and Alabama Association. Hey, Bobby, thanks for coming on with me.
I appreciate it, Bobby.
Yeah.
You got a great name.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk about that. You know, it never gets old no matter what. So thanks again, Bobby, for being on here. It's funny how, we were talking a little bit off camera before we start recording. And, I met you for the first time a couple years ago at Florida and really got to know you, I think, pretty well. And then I started Supplier Spot this year and reached out to you to just get your thoughts and your ideas about it before I actually launched it, to say, what do you think? And I started building the site, and I got to say, you were the very first person. You were my test subject. I remember that call. We sat right there and went through the first sign up to get Florida and Alabama as one of the associations on the site. So I want to say thank you for your support and everything that you do to help me out with Supplier Spot. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you for including me as the test guinea pig there. But no, I think it's wonderful. And I love what you're doing and I love the services you're providing. So
yeah,
glad it's going well.
Yeah, and I was telling you too earlier, and every podcast pretty much for the last several ones that I've done, everybody knows now who's watching these that I'm rebuilding the site. I have a better platform that I'm using. I'm real excited about it. I hope to have it done by maybe this Friday, September 13th, but we'll see. I want it to look really good before I make the announcement, hey, let's get you signed up on the new site. But the thing I really like about what you do is how you help support people like me. And I know we were just having a conversation about Supplier Spot and associations and conferences. And I say this over and over and over that I am not in this business to try to take suppliers away from the associations and the conferences. I've told you, and I've told everybody I've talked to, even my previous employer, saying these conferences and expos are so important in this industry. I think especially for the seasonal campgrounds, the ones who have been working all summer, then they close right in October timeframe, and then now they get to take a break and come out to these conferences and network and meet new suppliers. So Supplier Spot is just one of those extra little added features that I wanted to take on for helping the campground owners and RV park staff members find what they're looking for their parks. So what do you think about Supplier Spot?
Oh, I agree with everything you just said. And I know my, I guess, key button that said, hey, I want to be a part of this was just the fact that, first of all, how much that you appreciate what the associations do and, how we are valuable amongst the whole ecosystem of the industry with the suppliers, the campers, and of course the campground owners and operators.
Yeah.
So anything that can promote, the industry, promote the associations and tie us all together, I'm all for it. And you've shown firsthand, and more so than just words, you've actually, you came to our conference and you did an amazing job at first of all helping promote the conference prior to it, reaching out to our sponsors. You did a fantastic job with the sponsor trivia game that we had in our
that was a lot of fun.
Friday breakfast, which turned out to be wonderful. A lot of fun, educational, and the attendees loved it. Our auction, you helped with that. You videoed our auction, showed it live on the screens, all the items and the activity and participation all around that. So that was a huge plus. Mm-hmm. And then anything else you could help with. So not only did I appreciate it, but I know the attendees and the vendors did as well, because you just added an extra umph there that we were missing before. So anyway.
Yeah, and that's
well done.
And that's what I loved about you giving me that opportunity, is I really made your conference work too. If you remember right, my daughter graduated high school on Wednesday on Tuesday. I flew out Wednesday, came back on Friday because we had our party on Saturday. So, I just wanted to make it work because I knew if I showed you and everybody there at Florida that, hey, I'm here to help with this industry. I'm not just here to be another, supplier or vendor trying to, and get all kinds of money from people. I just want to be a part of this industry, helping out where I can. And that's what I really liked about you is I appreciated the fact that you allowed me that opportunity. You were the very first one that I approached about doing the supplier sponsors trivia. That's the great thing about doing trivia is it's new no matter where I go. I could go to any conference, any state association, national conference, and do a game of trivia. And whether I'm doing a supplier sponsors where I get the questions directly from the suppliers, or I just download the general questions that come with the software. I mean, those are current event software or current event questions that come with the software. So it's just a lot of fun. But the most important thing about this is the fact that I can actually show campground owners and staff members the program that I use and how they can take it back to their campgrounds and have trivia at their campgrounds to play with their campers. And actually, one of the people I think you already mentioned to me, if I remember right, it's I can't remember the name of the campground now. Help me out. It's something View or
Rob Smith.
Rob Smith. That's right. Rob Smith. Him and I connected because he reached out to you. I think he even came up to me after I did trivia in Florida and was looking at the software, and we talked and went back and forth. I told him exactly what type of equipment he needed. And I'm not selling the software whatsoever. I'm just helping promote the software. So I tell him, this is what I use. This is how I use it. And Rob is actually going to try to do something this fall. I said, hey, if you want me to come on out, I'll fly out there. You just put me up one of your cabins. I'll fly out there and help you with setting everything up to make sure it's a successful night. Cause I do this all the time. So I just appreciate you allowing me that opportunity to come in and try something new and different. And I think it went really well.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I had many people coming back saying how they absolutely loved it and wanted to talk with you further. And yeah, what you're saying is true. I don't think once during that whole 3-day conference, 3.5-day conference, did you ever promote supplier spot. So it was,
the only thing I did is wear this shirt. I was wearing one of these shirts as I was walking around, and
it wasn't like you were there to promote your company. It was by far the opposite. And of course, we did everything we could to promote you through signage and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the way you handled it, totally professional. And we do it all over again. And as you know, plan to next year for our conference in 2025. So.
Yeah, that's one of my big things, and that's what I always promoted to with my previous employer is whenever I'd go out to these conferences, is I don't look at myself as a very good salesperson, but I have a great personality when it comes to being extroverted and talking with people. So I just put information out, put some flyers on the table, or I'll have, my shirt on, or if somebody wants to ask me questions about it, I'm there, but I never jump and just kind of constantly push. Right. I didn't go around to the booths and try to push supplier spot on all the vendors and suppliers that were there. I just went around and collected cards and then emailed them later and said, hey, it was great to see you there. If you ever think about getting on supplier spot, here's some more information. So that's my goal with it is I don't want to be a pushy salesman. And then even when I'm networking, if people ask me about supplier spot, I talk about it. But otherwise, I just want to get to know people in general. And I've met so many great colleagues like you and a lot of other people in this industry that I'm excited for the fall season to come up with these upcoming shows. And of course, your show in the spring there. So I'm glad I was able to do something there that was beneficial, and we learned from that, and we got a great plan going forward for your show next spring. So I'm looking forward to all that. So
wonderful,
great. With all that, Bobby, let's talk a little bit about Florida and Alabama and the association. I mean, what do you do? How'd you get started with it? I mean, how long you've been where you are, and let's just kind of chit chat about that.
Oh gosh, everybody knows this by now. I've been in this industry for so long, so I've been doing this for almost embarrassed to say 30 years now. Right.
So you were like 5 when you started, is what you're saying? Yeah.
I was right out of college, though. I can't say that. So yeah, pretty much 2 years right out of college. I moved up to Tallahassee, worked with the Florida Home Builders Association, doing some advertising sales for them. Saw an opportunity open up with this association, which at the time I knew nothing about, but I'd heard about it. And I was hired on selling advertising and working memberships. And that was, back in 1991. Been here ever since.
Wow.
Executive director in 2004. So love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Every day is different. And that's hard to say when you've been here for as long as I have, but it really is. Love the people. And I think that's the main reason that, I've kept not only in this position, but just continue to love the job is serving the people. Our board of directors is great. Our members are great. And, seeing everybody succeed in this great industry, it's a blessing and, very rewarding. So just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Like I said, I met you just a couple years ago, so even though I'm new to this side of the industry, I'm an avid camper myself. But that's what I liked about it. So when I came up with Supplier Spot, I knew this idea. I wanted to stay within the industry. So this is great that you've been in for so long. So hopefully maybe 30 years from now, I'll be trying to say, or I'll be saying the same thing you said. I don't know if I'll stick around that long, but we'll see, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, this is great. I pulled up the Florida website. It's got such good information on here. You have information about the annual conferences, and past photos, and the suppliers of the year, and all that good stuff. So it's really cool that people can just go right to the website, which is campflorida.org, and just read more about what the association's about, and then of course if there's any parks out there that are not members yet, how to join. Suppliers out there, highly recommend joining as a supplier member. It's really beneficial to be part of an organization like this.
Thank you.
And then, so when did Florida and Alabama? I know you guys you merged there a little
We
while
did.
ago. How long ago was
It's
that?
been about, I don't know the exact year, Bobby. It's probably close to 15 years ago.
Okay, it's been a
Took
while.
on Alabama. At the time, there was just a campground operator that was running the association when he had time available voluntarily. They had 5 or 6 members at the time, and of course, we're struggling with those numbers and not having a real staff. So we had a relationship with them, and they would call us if they had questions or needed now to do something. And eventually they said, "Hey, would y'all be interested in just taking it on and serving the Alabama members in the industry?" And yeah, we jumped on that, and it's been a great relationship. We've grown pretty significantly, got a lot more room for growth. As you know, I think maybe our chair, Thomas Sparrow, is from Alabama, so we actually have the chair of the Florida and Alabama Association from Alabama. So he's done an amazing job, not only legislatively there, but helping grow the Alabama side of the organization, and of course Florida as well. But anyway, it's worked out fantastic. Geographically, of course, we're located near each other, so
Yeah,
for many
it's great.
reasons, it was just a good fit.
Yeah, and what I really like about both these associations too, especially I'm not a campground owner myself, but all the great discounts and information you get for them. And I know you guys are always going and lobbying for things that'll help their parks. So it's just one of those things that these associations are so important to campground owners, that you guys are there really to support them and help get the information to them and get it to Congress and whatever you guys need to do to make this all come together, so the parks feel like rest assured that their dollars are working for them in a positive way.
Yeah, that's you mentioned legislatively, and that really, most people, most campgrounds, most members join initially for marketing purposes, to be in the directory on the website, which is fantastic. They get a lot out of that, and that's one of the key benefits that we offer. But when it really comes down to it, what we do legislatively for both states is huge and more important than anything else we do. And the parks eventually get that as well. Right now, we're fighting. It's a county issue, but it's probably going to be a statewide issue soon. Just some very outrageous fire and EMS fees that the campgrounds are being hit with, and the methodology they used against the campgrounds is just ridiculous. And prices they're charging and the fees they're trying to pass, and they have in Sumter County specifically. It's going to cost the average park owner easily an extra $20,000-$30,000 a year if we don't defeat this. So we have a battle with that. We're going to be passing legislation, hopefully, that will prevent this from happening in the future, not only that county, but others. So setting some parameters. So, cutting costs, reducing fees, cutting government red tape and regulations, allowing the campground operator to not only expand their park, for developers to build new parks. That's all part of our mission, is to make the industry healthier, grow it, and to decrease the cost, the unnecessary costs that many of the campgrounds are facing legislatively and through government. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is just me speaking freely, opinionated. A lot of the campground owners who've never been a part of an association, especially if they're new to the campground industry, owning a campground, I should say, or an RV park, they just don't understand that there's associations that are doing this for them. Otherwise, they're like, "Oh, I just got hit with another thing." I was talking to another executive director, and the music licensing issue. There's another one coming on where that just keeps adding costs. It's like almost impossible to just play music at your park for people to enjoy in the background. It's just, it's just kind of, I'm glad that there's associations like this that really help with that music licensing, movie licensing, all that type of stuff. I think I've told you before.
More than people realize.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've told you before that I have a DJ business here in Colorado. So I've had that since 1999. I had to go through all the same stuff as well. Anytime I play music, I had to have licensing. But I think it's funny, though, is I want to get a little bit of a commission from these record labels, because I don't know how many times I've been playing a song and people come up to me like, hey, what song is this? And I tell them the artist and the title. Then I'm like, wait a minute here. Why am I not getting a commission off that? Yeah. They probably wouldn't have heard this song for a while if it wasn't for me playing it here tonight. But I can't really do that. So.
There's some truth to that, and instead it's the reverse. We're having to pay the licensing companies to use it. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. And sometimes the licensing companies are needed, sometimes they're not. There's other ways around it, depending on the campground and how they're playing the music and how much they play, where they're playing it. So it's not just one shoe fits all answer. So there are other options out there, and the associations are there to help guide the campground owner in the right direction. Hopefully save them money too. So.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about me coming in with doing this trivia, and the software that I use also does bingo as well. Is if they're getting to the point where it's just so expensive for music and movies or something like that, trivia and bingo are free. It's free to the campers. It's a great way to help generate revenue as well. For example, if the campground owner has, like, say, a snack shack or something, or a place where they sell food and drinks, they could actually say, hey, if you buy our food special or our drink special, you'll get an extra point before the game starts. So it's a nice way to generate some revenue. And I do this at a lot of friends. My friend has a couple bars and pubs around the area that I'm in, and that's what they do. And it really helps. And they do it like on a Tuesday night when people are normally not at a bar or a pub on a Tuesday night. So where I'm going with this is it can somewhat help substitute the music piece of things by just having like a fun night of trivia or something. So, just some other ideas I'm trying to bring into this industry and see if people like it. So
that's great.
Great. Well, one thing that I want to talk about big time is the conference, the Outdoor Hospitality Conference and Expo 2025 now. I know we got a ways away. We've actually got 236 days, 14 hours, and 27 minutes. So
you must be looking at our
No, I knew that in my head. I know this stuff, Bobby. Your show is one of my favorite shows.
You can pull up that site, too, if you want.
Great. Now I got to share the tab.
There you go.
Dang it.
That's the new one, yeah. Make sure that's the updated one. So, yeah. That's where we're going to be this year. It's going to be at the Rosen Shingle Creek Resort. Absolutely beautiful property.
Yeah, I'm excited for this place.
On a golf course. It's only about a mile away or a mile and a half away from where we were last year at the Hilton, but this is a very unique property.
Is there going to be a golf tournament involved somehow? Do I need to bring my clubs? You say there is or not?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
I said, is there going to be a golf tournament somewhere that I need to bring my clubs for, or have you thought about that?
Organize it. That's something we haven't done in the past. Considered it many times, and this is one of the few properties that would actually allow that. So, we may give that some thought. That's possible.
Well, yeah, I'd definitely like to talk to you about it if you're interested in it, because I'm on the Arizona Association board,
right? And
they do a golf tournament type deal too. Even if it's not a tournament, even if we just get a couple guys together and play. I just need to know that because I'll bring my club. So, well, then again, now I don't talk golf course. I'll bring my club.
We got the day before everything starts to kind of like a fun day and some special other seminars that we're doing with RVCA and some training there. So we have the time to work that in. So we'll have a conversation.
I'll bring my clubs.
But it's a great event. Basically 2.5 days. This year it'll be starting on Wednesday the 7th, with the pre-day being on the 6th. So you go Tuesday the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And the main 2 days will be Thursday the 8th and then Friday the 9th. Trade show will be going on all day on the 9th and around 5:30. But we have probably about 15, 16 sessions, open discussions, Cracker Barrels. We have 2 dinner events, lunch event. So all the meals are included. It's great value and fun time for all. And not only a wonderful trade show, we had about the largest event last year with our trade show. We had around 95 booths sold. So we expect that again this year. Good participation, and it's a lot of fun. And the networking, once again, I think that's, one of the main benefits that the association brings, no matter if it's in Florida or any other state, is just bringing the right people together. You
Yeah.
have the campgrounds, you have the suppliers, you have the industry leaders, consultants, and people that are brand new to the industry as well. And everybody's typically always so friendly and helpful, and just the conversations that happen, I think, are probably the most beneficial part of any of these conferences. So.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, when I first got there that night, I went and put my stuff away, did a little bit of work, and then went down to the networking area. And just, it's great seeing some of the same people I've seen at so many of the conferences, and then, of course, meeting new people. And one thing I was really excited about, too, is I got to meet Michael with CampSpot, the CEO of CampSpot. I've never met him. I've always heard about him. And then I was talking with Casey, and Michael came up, and Casey introduced me to Michael. I'm like, oh, wow, you're the CEO? And he's like, yeah. It's like, this is really cool to see the CEO. And CampSpot's a pretty large company based on their parent company. And I was like, wow, this is great to see the CEO out here at these conferences. It's very rare that you get these big wigs out at these conferences. So I think a big wig anyways. So, and him and I we had a great conversation, and him and I have been talking quite a bit over the last year or so about what CampSpot's doing. Of course, they're on Supplier Spot, and I have some other things in the works with some other associations that we're doing. So it's just cool to really get to know these people that I hear about them. I see them on these Facebook groups, or I see them in other podcasts that I watch, and it's just great to get out there and network, and that's where I get the most out of it. And I was a little bummed because, as I mentioned earlier, I had to leave on Friday, which was the day of the trade show. So and you had a booth for me, and all I was able to do was throw some flyers out there. I was like, oh, I can't even be at my booth, but I had to get home and prepare for it.
I think we had you working too much. You couldn't enjoy it. So.
I was enjoying it. I get bored easily. So if I'm not doing something, I just get bored. So otherwise I sit down in front of a laptop, and, I do that every day, all day. So I don't want to do that when I'm out at these conferences. So no, and like I said, I'm always there to work. I'm there. I think one time you're like, oh, I'm trying to figure out who I can get over to this room for the AV setup, and I'm like, I'll go check it out. So I went over there and plugged everything in, had her up and ready to go for the speaker, and I was like, this is what I do.
You helped out many times. Yeah. I should have had you handle that whole AV situation.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's what I do. Yeah, with DJing, I've done a lot of military balls where they have like 3 or 4 screens set up around the room. So, that way we can, that's just what I do, and I know it. Actually, I was working with Dee with Carolinas. I know you and her talk often, and
sure.
Unfortunately, they had their equipment stolen out of their storage unit. I think it was earlier this spring. So I told her, I was like, I can talk to you guys about equipment to get if you're ready to buy some new stuff. So I've actually been working with Tyler Watts and talked to him, and he actually bought the same system that I use for my DJ business, which is one of the best systems I believe out there. And I've gone through a lot of systems. So I'm just glad that I was able to help them out, get ready, and actually get to use the new system at the fall crawl that we're doing coming up next week. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I just think it's so cool how you and all the executive directors are always communicating and constantly talking.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, since you brought that up and talking about benefits earlier, that's one thing that we have done in the past few months is we've offered or come up with a program, and Jason from Pennsylvania is the leader behind this. The group is called Hospitality Connections, which he created a company, and all the state associations, the majority of the individual state associations are partnering with Jason, and we've come up with some fantastic benefits. Music licensing discounts for all the companies, pretty much. Suburban Propane, movie licensing, Constant Contact, Tenant Alert, food, U.S. Foods, SP Value, ADP Payroll, and many others. There's probably 20 or 30 altogether, but that's all come together, and that's nice that we're able to not only get together to form a group that can provide these discounts, but they were doing it in partnership with each other, so there's some unity there as well. So yeah, very happy and excited about that, and introducing that to all the members is something we're going to be doing.
Yeah, Jason's awesome. I've worked with him. I met him for the first time in RVCA a couple of years ago, and him and I just hit it off. And then I went to the PCOA show last year and met his mom and his brother, and just a great group of people. And actually, I'm working with him too to do some trivia up at the Pennsylvania show. I'm excited for this one. We had a meeting earlier, but he was so swamped with with everything that was going on at his park. I remember we had our conversation. He was like outside of his park. Otherwise people would just keep coming in and bothering him. So, but yeah, which reminded me, I just wrote myself a note. I got to contact him because he told me to contact him after Labor Day. So, yeah, I mean, it's just great what you guys are putting together. And as I mentioned, I'm on the association board, and you're aware that we have now changed our name. We're now the Association of Arizona Outdoor Hospitality Association, Arizona OHA. It was kind of funny. I was telling Lisa this earlier today. I was like, we were doing this whole name thing, and it just hit me after we decided on everything. We could have been Aloha. Yeah, Arizona Lodging Outdoor Hospitality Association.
I have a feeling that URL is probably already taken.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyways, it was kind of a funny joke. We would have never done that. But so yeah, in Arizona, they're going to be part of the networking that you were just talking about, or the connections you were just talking about as well. So
good deal.
It's really cool how all this stuff is coming together. And we were talking about earlier before we started recording about how you were talking with Michael with Taco, and you guys just have such a great tight niche with everybody. Diana Kelly over there in California, and that's what I really like about being part of this industry is no matter what I do, I want to support these associations. That's what Supplier Spot's all about. Getting the suppliers onto these associations can help everybody in the long run. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, and you've proven that without a doubt. So, yeah, everybody I talk to, I express that as well. So,
well, great, I appreciate that.
You're one of the good ones. So, thank you, Bobby.
Well, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I know there's probably times I say stupid stuff or, vomit out of the mouth or something. I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, but I am man enough to admit it and go back and apologize if I have to. So
well, there you go. That's my motto because that happens with me as well, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great. Bobby, again, thanks for being on here. We're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this again probably in, I'd say probably like 225 days from now, so we can get closer to the actual conference.
How far away are we again?
236 days, 14 hours, and 17 minutes. So.
I got to get busy here.
But we'll do it again, come around April timeframe because I know the show's in May. So that way the schedule will be out a little bit more and more people can have some information on it. And I'm doing everything I can to promote it as well. So. Again, I just thanks for taking the time out of your day and coming on and talking. And, I'm looking forward to seeing you at any of the upcoming shows this fall and go from there. So
before we hang up, Rib, give me an overview again of some of the new changes you're making with Supplier Spot. I know not only the new website, but
yeah,
what's your intent there?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So as I mentioned, for the last couple months, I took a lot of advice from people. One person I'll shout out here, he's a really good, I think he's becoming a good friend of mine, is Mike Harrison with CRR Hospitality. He's on the Arizona board with me, and I think him and I, we speak kind of the same language when it comes to marketing and business. And we sat down and did a call like this, and before we got on, I was like, what do you think about Supplier Spot? And he was looking at the website. He's like, well, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm like, that's exactly what I need. So he told me so many great pointers about, hey, you should try to think about this, think about that. The word he used, which I really liked and it sticks in my head, is this website's just not very sexy. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. But as I mentioned, I built it on a platform that's not designed for sexy. It was designed to just be like a marketplace. But I use that because I am a person that loves constructive criticism. If you can give me feedback that I can turn around into a positive, that's what I'm trying to do. So the new site is going to be much sexier. It's going to be so much easier to navigate. It's so much better, the design quality of it. My phase 1 is getting this site up and going. Phase 2, what I like to do is in the future is make it where suppliers who actually want to sell products through the site can do that. So they can actually have their own store on there if they want, have it connected to their merchant account. That way, if they don't have a store yet, they don't have to go and build it on something separate like Shopify or Etsy or anything like that. They can do it right on there. And it's just a spot where the owners can go and say, hey, I'm looking for one example I always use. Well, SB Value, that's a great example. Clint and his product, people are looking for foods and other types of items for their snack shacks or restaurants and things of that nature. They'll be able to go right on there and either make orders directly if Clint puts a store on there, or they can just have a link over to a store. So, the goal is just to make it like a global one-stop spot. And that's kind of why I came up with the name of Supplier Spot, is just an area. So I'm excited for it. Of course, it's nerve-wracking, especially when you're doing it by yourself and bootstrapping it yourself, paying for it all yourself. It's kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm excited.
And then you're having to travel around to all these conventions and do your thing there, too. So.
Exactly. And that's what I tell all the suppliers, too, is I'm traveling around these conventions because I'm a one-man show. I don't have to pay for multiple hotel rooms and multiple air flights and things like that. But I can go out and help promote the associations. I can promote the suppliers, especially your sponsorship suppliers. the trivia game alone is just like an added bonus for them to say, hey, if you're a sponsor, you're going to be, part of the trivia session where the title of the company comes up for every single question they submit to me, and I promote them and tell them, hey, go over to their booth and talk to them. They'll be at the trade show later, things of that nature. So
that was really cool. I mean, I don't want to harp on that. We've already talked about it, but that was extremely interesting and educational. I mean, I learned more about all of our suppliers during that session than I ever have.
Exactly.
The campground, the owners, the people that were playing the game.
Yeah.
Not only is it fun, but it's truly educational, and you learned about the details of suppliers you never knew about. So
yeah, exactly. I was kind of bummed though, because I know you were so busy at the conference that you left one time during the trivia, and I should have waited till you came back. But I can't control when the questions come up. But I actually pulled your picture from the website, and it was just like your big old picture up there on the screen, and all the question is who is this guy?
Yeah.
So things like that, and that's a goal, is just to kind of help promote the association. I got some questions about Florida, some fun facts, things like that. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just make it a learning opportunity. And even if we don't do questions about suppliers, we can always just download the software's questions, which are usually current events or just random questions that people are like, I didn't even know that, so I learned something today. So
yeah, very cool.
I'm excited.
One other question I had about, now I know with the tweaks and the changes and improvements you're making, do you still have the module where a campground operator can sell say they have old pedestals they need to get rid of? Can they?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I always forget about that piece of things, which is a very important piece. So even though I'm talking about suppliers, campground staff or owners can actually set up their own account as there as well and sell items like you just mentioned. One park I was talking to, they're upgrading all their meters to the wireless meters. So they have all these analog meters that work perfectly fine. And they were like, well, what are we going to do with these 50 meters sitting in our storage room? And so I told them, well, post them up on Supplier Spot, and I'll help promote that for you. And I'll send out emails to my database saying, hey, if you're looking for some meters because you're expanding or your meters have broke or something, here's a park that's actually selling them, and they can talk directly to them about it. So that's my goal behind it, is just to make it a one-stop place. I actually have another park that they're upgrading their picnic tables. So they have these old wooden picnic tables. They're great. They just need a coat of paint on or a coat of stain on them. They can sell picnic tables, and they can search by geographical location as well. So if they want to say, hey, there's somebody in our area here, we can go pick them up or figure out a way to do that. So
I think that's going to, once the word gets out, that's really going to take off. I know for years I've had those questions, where can I find some used pedestals or used tables or whatever? How do I get rid of these? And, we do what we can, with our newsletters or whatever, but having your site will make it a easy transition, I think. So
and actually, this will be the first time I actually show the new site. The new site is up and going, so it's a lot better. I mean, I don't have. There's only a few things that still need to be fixed right now, and that's what my coder is working on. But I've been doing all the front piece of things, making things look good. I have a featured suppliers area here, so like Tim with Access Parks and Merble. Actually, I think Marty is in Destin, Florida area, and he does this Merble game that he made up. And, so my goal is just to have a place where people can go and look at, ease of use, reliable suppliers. And as I mentioned earlier too, I do have the site set up where I actually have conferences and expos on here. So I have it where people can go and see what's coming up for the future, like the fall crawl, and people can actually click on more info here to get more information, or right here they can click on the where we're hosting it at. So if they click on more info, it just brings it up by itself, and then people are like, oh, I'm interested in this. They can actually add it to their calendar, whether it's Apple or Google or Outlook or Office, whatever it is. So just a great way to promote all those association conferences and expos out there. So then I have the podcast, that one of these ones that we're doing. I'll have this one up today, but you can see I talked to Dee yesterday, and so I have all the podcasts on here. I talked to all these people, so I have tons of podcasts on here. So that's my goal, is to try to be part of this industry that really helps the campground owners. If they go, hey, I want to learn more about this llama wood. What is this all about? They can click here and watch it. They can fast forward if they want to, or pause when they need to. So this is actually what the new site is starting to look like. So being you the first one to get on the first Supplier Spot, you get to be the first one to see how this one's looking and get you signed up. So so it's really cool. You can just come here and search listings, and I've been practicing with it too, getting testing it out myself. So I actually got under services here, you can search by category, location, the latest. I've got my marketing business on there. It's just a way to test everything. So as you can see, when people click on it, they can call them, they can send an email, they can send a direct message, they can leave a review if they like to. And the people who sign up, they actually get to put in all this description stuff themselves. So just a cool way that I think is going to really help the industry and really promote these suppliers out there and help them out. So
fantastic job. Looks great.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. So thanks again for bringing it up. I didn't get into it too much. Mainly these were about what you're doing with the association. So,
well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. So,
yeah.
Always great talking to you.
Yep.
Thanks again for everything you're doing.
Yep. You too, Bobby. And for those who want to ever get a hold of Bobby, you want to shout out your quick info out there of how they can contact you?
Oh, sure. Quick office phone number is 850-562-7151. Email is bcornwell@rvca.org.
Cool. Great. Yeah. And websites or, of course, go to Supplier Spot. What's that?
I said, I'm sure you can just Google the association or myself and find it that way as well.
That is true.
Yeah. We're here to help any suppliers, any campground owners and operators, especially if you're not part of the association. We'd love the opportunity to talk with you and help you out.
Yeah. And I'll vouch for it. Even though I'm not a campground owner, it's great. It's a great tool to have in your back pocket. So, well, thanks again, Bobby, for being on here.
Okay.
Everybody, thanks for watching. We hope you learned some stuff here. And we'll see you. We'll talk again on this podcast come around April 2025 timeframe. So thanks again, Bobby.
Right.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Supplier Spot Spotlight. Keep shining bright in the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Stay tuned for more illuminating conversations with industry experts. Until next time, enjoy the great outdoors.